All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kodash. I want to say double honor to the apostles and the elders and the bishop elders, a great millstone for teaching his word and truth and sincerity, for ruling well. And salutations to my fellow Akim across the four corners of the globe, preaching and prophesying in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Hey, this is the brother Gabar Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another lesson. This lesson on this video that you see in front of you, I saw this video on WorldStar, but this video is a few months old. But it shows these small hats stealing these Palestinians' homes, man. Let alone they land, they stealing the homes, which the land don't belong to neither one of these nations, And this is why the Lord said that He's going to make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all that mess with it. And that's what it is right now for these Amalekites, these Amalekites and these Ishmaelites over there fighting over land that don't belong to them. But this shows you that also that these small hats are not the Lord's people, man, because we're not going to have to steal anything from anyone. That's breaking the Lord's law, statutes, commandments by stealing anything. We're not set up to do that. The world was set and made for our sake, but not the heathen. And this is an example why the world wasn't made for the sake of the heathen. This is, before I get that video started, this is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 6. Chapter 6. Yep. I'll just go straight at the 6 and 54 and 55. It says, and after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. Right. So everybody on the earth comes out of Adam via Noah, his three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, as well as the chosen people who are the Israelites. It says, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sake. So the world was made for the sake of the Israelites. And when we get into power, we're not going to have to bully a nation to take what's theirs. Everybody get their inheritance, man. But nonetheless, the earth is still going to be ours. The earth is still going to be ours. But the point of the matter is, when these heathens get set up, they're going to have lands, and no other nation is going to be able to encroach on their land. Here it is. These people, the Arabs, when I saw it on WorldStar Hip Hop, the Arabs, they said were at a funeral or something, and then these Edomites and these Amalekites, these small hats, they couldn't wait, and they ran up in there and they started occupying it. I think they were doing renovations to a building, and these rats, they just started running up in there, taking it like it was theirs, and it's not. And that's why the scriptures also says in Isaiah 26:10, let favor be showed to the wicked, Esau, Edom, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord. And that's exactly what you're about to witness right here, man. These people are dealing unjustly in this land, man. Okay? Yeah, so and they just moving in who have illegally dominated larger parts of the city since 1994. Now, when Esau established the land for for these Amalekites, these small hats, all right, he said that he wouldn't take the land and the property of them people. When you look at the Balfour Declaration, what does it say? When you read the Balfour Declaration, right? What did the Balfour Declaration say? It says this. It says in, let me see. What did it say? Right here. This is the Balfour Declaration. It says, "Dear Mr. Balfour, because the Rothschild signed sincerely Rothschild, because he wrote this to Lionel Rothschild." So before I get this, I want to get the actual Balfour Declaration. Let me see if I can find it. Yep. "Dear Lord Rothschild," okay, this is from Arthur Balfour to Lionel Rothschild. It says, "Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet. His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or rights of political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country. I should be grateful if you would bring this declaration to the knowledge of the Zionist Federation." So here it is. They said that they basically wasn't going to do nothing to prejudice these people or to stop these people. They're allowing them to worship Allah over there. They're allowing them to do all manners of other wickedness and evil over there, right? But they're encroaching on their land and taking it, man, with no regard, man. And this man's the devil. And again, when the real Israelites get into that land, we ain't gonna have to do that. First of all, we're gonna dwell in that land alone. Ain't gonna be no other nations dwelling amongst us. You're gonna be there, but you're gonna be servants. Outside of that, you're not going to be living in our borders, man. You're not going to be living with us. We're not going to, and even if you do happen to stay somewhere near or within our borders or whatever, you're going to have your own place. Ain't nobody going to take your shit, you know? We're not going to be jumping off of buses with fucking mattresses and moving trucks, just running into your property, man. And that's what they're doing, man. They literally stealing people's property. This is stealing, man. You know what I mean? Squatting. You know? Would the Lord, the true Lord's people, have to do this? No, we ain't got to squat in somebody else's stuff, man. This is Deuteronomy 19:14. "Thou shalt not remove," look, it says right here, "laws of landmark and testimony. Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit it in the land that the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai giveth thee to possess it." So if these are the Lord's people, shouldn't they be following this law? You're not allowed to move somebody's landmark. Let's look at what it says in a NLT. "When you arrive in the land of the Lord your God is giving you as your special possession, you must never steal anyone's land by moving the boundary markers your ancestors set up or to mark their property." And you know, Jake did that in the ancient world while we ain't in the land today, and Esau's doing that now, man. This is a part of him dealing unrighteously in the land. Check this out.
My house. And if I don't, you are stealing my house. And if I don't steal it, someone else is gonna steal it. No one is allowed to steal it, Yammi.
And that's the devil. That's Esau for you. This is Esau for you. This is Esau. He's doing it in the West Bank. He's doing it in the East Jerusalem. This Israeli settler is trying to take over a Palestinian family home. And you know what his excuse was? If I don't steal it, somebody else will. This ain't the Lord's people, man. And everybody just turns a blind eye to this. You know, like this shit ain't happening. And this is not only what Esau does in the Holy Land, but this is what he does across the world, man. This ain't right, man. And you know, not for nothing, them Palestinians don't belong over there either. But damn, bro, nobody can catch a break with this man in power, man. He'll steal your land. He'll steal your identity. He'll steal your inheritance. He'll steal everything from you, man. And then he'll look at you like, and what? You know? Again, thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land of the Lord thy God, giveth thee to possess it, man. When you arrive, this dude, he arrived there, he's a settler, in the land of the Lord your God is giving you as your special possession. You must never steal anyone's land by moving the boundary markers your ancestors set up to mark their property, man, because in the ancient world, every Israelite tribe had their border landmarks, man. And that's Judah had a spot where they stayed at. Judah had their spot where they stayed at. Issachar had their spot. Manasseh, the half tribe of Manasseh, and the other half, they had their locations, you know? So everybody gets their inheritance. You don't gotta steal, you shouldn't have to steal anyone's land. But that's what the devil does, man. Because what does the devil do? Does he come to make peace with you and love? No. The devil, St. John 10:10, the thief, and Esau is the super thief. He's the thief of the world. The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. And that's what this man is doing. And they can't beat his ass, because if they touch him, the Israeli government gonna fall on these people, man. They can't push the nigga and punch him in the face, or they can't tell him, get off my land. They can't do none of that. These people's hands are tied.
Jacob, you know this is not your house. Yes, but if I go, you don't go back. So what's the problem? What are you yelling at me? I didn't do this. I didn't do this.
But if he go, you don't go back. I didn't do this. That's the devil for you, man. That's Satan.
But it's easy to yell at me, but I didn't do this. You are stealing my house.
Yeah, so here it is. They said that they wasn't going to do nothing of prejudice against them in the Balfour Declaration, but they had an ethnic cleansing in 1948. Let's read about that. Nobody's talking about that. It says the ethnic cleansing of Palestine. Nope, I'm not trying to hear the book. The ethnic cleansing of Palestine. There's a book about it. Let's just read this. During the 1948 Palestinian War, and that's another thing. When we get into that land, ain't gonna be no more war. Ain't gonna be no war. We're not gonna be fighting with no damn Palestinians or Edomites. No Arabs, the Ishmaelites, or Edomites, man. That land gonna be destroyed and rebuilt back up, man. During 1948, the 1948 Palestinian War, around 720,000 Palestinian Arabs out of 900,000 who lived in the territories that became Israel fled or were expelled from their homes. The cause of this exodus are controversial and debated by historians. In his own words, Ian Pepe wants to make the case for the paradigm of ethnic cleansing and use it to replace the paradigm of war as the basis of the scholarly research, public, and debate. You know, the idea that the 1948 events were the results of planned expulsion had already been suggested by historian Walid Khalidi. Yep. It says, so that's what they do, man. You know, they push people out of their land. They take their land. They take everything from them, man. So you don't have nothing to steal. And that's why you ain't supposed to be around these people. Listen, this is the reason why the Lord is a segregationist, man. You know, everybody get their own land. Nobody get no more, no less. You get what you get. And that's it. Deuteronomy 32:8. When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, which is their land, okay, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. You know, so every nation on earth has their inheritance, man. It shouldn't be a whole bunch of people going to different lands, taking it over by war, theft, you know, deceit, deception. No, you got your land in which your nation and people are supposed to live. But this devil, what he do? He said no. He wants the whole world. He wants everything. And his excuse is, if I don't do it, somebody else will. What kind of shit is that? What kind of rationalization is that? NLT, when the Most High assigned lands to the nations, when he divided up the human race, he established the boundaries of the people according to the number of his heavenly court, man, which is the Israelites, man. He gave us the best portion of the world, man, which back then it was Israel. But now, look what you got this devil over here, man. And they're doing this shit all over Jerusalem. And they're doing it all over the world, man. Shit, even in America, they got laws where they protect squatters, man. You go out of town and you come back, somebody living in your shit. You like, what the hell is going on? And you try to kick them out. You got to take this person to court. You know what I mean? This person living up in your shit and you got to take them to court. This is the kind of world we live in, man. Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil because, let me read that again. Woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage, man. You see this? You see? Hey, the scriptures got this devil down pegged, man. He got this devil pegged. It says they covet fields and seize them and houses and take them away. They oppress a man and his house, a man and his inheritance, man. That word for inheritance, his heritage. Okay, they stopped there. That's what they do. That's their heritage. His possession, property is portion, and that's what this devil is doing. He's taking these people's land, their portion. He's taking these people's land and their portion, and doing whatever he want with it.
Almost 20% of many people think of this territory as Palestine. Bizarre places in the world. I just crossed over from Israel into the West Bank. If you look at a map of where I'm driving right now, you'll see a jumbled mess of Palestinian towns and villages, which are shown in green, and Israeli settlements, which are in blue. Many people think of this territory as Palestine, but of the 3 million people living out here, almost 20% of them are Jewish Israeli citizens. The Israelis living out here are called settlers. They live in the West Bank, but they're citizens of Israel. As I drive, I'm looking at effectively two different nations woven into each other through decades of conflict. I visited 15 settlements all over the West Bank, talking to people who've decided to pack up and move out into the middle of disputed land. We'll meet them in coming videos, but first I want to take a look at the maps that help explain how the West Bank got to look like this. Between Jews different. So let's go back to 1948 when the map looked a lot different. Back then, all this land was controlled by Great Britain, and due to growing tensions between Jews and Arabs, the UN worked with Britain to split the land into two states, one for Jews, Israel, and another one for Arabs, Palestine. The Jews in the region accepted this plan and declared independence of the state of Israel. But the Arab states in the region saw this plan as...
Hey, this is why the Lord is going to judge that land and them people that's in it, because they part of his land. You don't do that. You just don't do that. But the devil did. This is Joel chapter 3 verse 1. Joel 3:1, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, which is Yahweh's judgment, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, the land, his property, his people, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And that, we just saw that. We just saw a illustration of that. It says right here, I will gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. There I will put them on trial for what they did to my inheritance, my people Israel, because they scattered my people among the nations and divided up my land. And that's just what you see is going on right here. They divided the Lord's land. And both of these nations did this. The Edomites and the Ishmaelites, who the so-called Arabs and the so-called Jays, man. That land don't belong to them people at all. The Lord didn't bless them with that land. Them Arabs got their own land. You know? Look, all of Saudi Arabia, they could just hang out down there. Fuck you doing up in Israel, man? You Edomites, you had Mount Seir. Why you all over the world spreading your poison, man? And then you in the Most High's land, and you splitting it up like it's cool, and then y'all fighting over it. You both fighting over stolen property. Them Arabs got in there during the Arab conquest. You look that up. The Arab conquest of Israel, right? Which was a complete failure of the Catholic Church trying to take it over. And that Mohammedan army turned on them, man. Ultimately, man. You know?
Just more European colonialism that didn't accept the plan and instead declared war on Israel. Israel won the war, pushing well past the borders of the UN plan. During the peace negotiations, a ceasefire line was drawn in green ink. It became known as the Green Line. It wasn't necessarily a border, it was just a ceasefire line, with this being the state of Israel, and this section being controlled by Jordan, who had taken control of it during the war. The Jordanians named this newly seized land the West Bank because it was west of the Jordan River. The fragile ceasefire remained until 1967, when Israel fought another war with its Arab neighbors. Israel wasn't looking to take over land in this war, but in just 6 days of fighting, it blew past the Green Line and seized a whole swath of land, including the entire West Bank. Suddenly, Israel had a decision to make. Do they make the West Bank a part of Israel and give the 1.1 million Arabs living there Israeli citizenship and voting rights? Do they give the land back to their enemy Jordan? Or else do they let the people create their own Palestinian state? This became a major debate in Israeli politics. Many Israelis saw this war they just won as not just a military victory, but a religious sign that the Jews were meant to return to the place where a huge amount of Jewish history happened, the hills of the ancient Judea and Samaria, which is basically the entire West Bank. So while the government was debating what to do, Israeli civilians began moving into the West Bank without any permission from the government. They just started setting up homes, establishing a Jewish presence in this region. Suddenly, any debate about what to do with the West Bank had to take into account the growing number of Israeli civilians that were living there. But the rest of the world did not approve of this. As the settler presence grew, the UN issued a resolution saying that the
and we're not going to need this UN resolution when we get into the land. We're not going to have these problems. This is not going to happen in the control of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 12, verse 1. I'm sorry, verse 3. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. And that's what's going to happen. That's what's happening now, and that's what's going to happen ultimately when this place is destroyed. The NLT says, on that day I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock. All the nations will gather against it to try to move it, but they will only hurt themselves, man. And that's what they're doing. These nations are hurting themselves, fighting over this land that don't belong to them, man. You know? So, yeah, I just wanted to bring this out, man. This man's the devil, man. This dude's a thief like no other, man. You know? This dude's a thief, man. This is the devil. You know? But yet they claim to be the Lord's people. No, these people ain't the Lord's people, man. These are usurpers. And the Lord, Yahweh Shai, is going to deal with them when he gets back. When Yahweh Shai comes, man, it's a wrap for these people, man. For real, man. All them people, everybody that's in that land going to get wiped out. If you ain't part of the elect, you out of here. You gone. And Israel's going to be rebuilt back up because our border's going to expand too. It ain't just going to be this swath of land that everybody's fighting over, man. You know, it's not going to be just this. Nah. You know, we did videos on that. We're going to get the whole blessing, man, which going to stretch from Egypt all the way to Mesopotamia, what you call Iraq today. But yeah, this area right here is hotly contested because these devils know about this land. They know that it's a special land, right? But they wanted a military force in there. That's what they said was going to happen to the land. They said that it's supposed to stay like this, and then they took it over. These Edomites took it over, and look now look at it, man. You know, this the devil. You can't have shit with this devil, man. All he do is steal, and kill. And so that'll say shalom on to the next.